This morning, we're welcoming back the Grandville Public Schools robotic team, more specifically their elementary schoolers. Yes, elementary schoolers as young as second grade are designing these machines. So this morning we have a big group here with us in studio. Again, Rosemary Hepfer, you met Doug, your husband, last week, right?
That's correct.
Okay, yeah, he was here with us last week and we're on 3. I was like, which camera are we looking at? And then also Jason O'Callahan. These are 2 of the leaders of the elementary programs. And we also have 5 elementary schoolers with us. Good morning, you guys. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Okay, so you guys have brought a bunch of things in here. Rosemary, I want to start with you. How long has Grandville had elementary robotics, and how did that come about?
Sure, we've had elementary programs for over 20 years in Grandville. And I started 20 years ago with the elementary program.
Is that a hard program to kind of get off the ground here? I mean, like, you're introducing the art of robotics to people as young as second grade.
Right, so we started with Lego League 20 years ago with our son when he was in 5th grade, started coaching him. And we saw how wonderful that was for him and the impact that it made on him. And we said, you know what, Grandville needs a program that starts in 2nd grade, goes to 12th grade, so that kids can be part of a program that advances through the levels. And so we started with Lego League, made sure that all of our schools had a Lego League team, and that the kids that wanted to do robotics could do robotics.
Yeah, I want to touch on the seasons because I know that these people commit a lot of time to the seasons.
Yes, they do.
What does that time commitment look like, and what sort of things are they learning during these seasons? And I guess what sort of things are they getting to do during the season?
So the team that's here right now is XIQ team.
Okay.
And they are from Oaks Town Intermediate School District, or school, and they are all 6th graders. And they started in mid-October, building their robot, designing it, planning it. Their season was in January, February, and then they qualified to go to the Tournament of Champions, which was this past Saturday.
Okay.
So their season extended a little bit than most kids because they won an award at a local event, and then they were invited to the Tournament of Champions.
They're just that darn good. That's
yes,
why,
they are.
That's why they were moving on to the next round.
Yep.
So let's talk about what you guys brought in here, okay? What am I looking at here? And I'm going to point to you. What am I looking at here? What's your name?
Micah Steckety.
All right, Micah, what do we have here on the table?
So we do Vex IQ, but this is all the Vex Go stuff, which is for 2nd and 3rd graders.
Okay.
So it's just like another program to introduce like a ton of like 2nd graders, and so you have to like grab like this and like put it up here, and then like you bring it over here, and you have to either put it on here or here or here.
Okay.
Up here you would get more points, and it's just like something to introduce kids to the next stage of robotics.
Okay, so this is, again, you said for 2nd and 3rd graders, is that
Yes.
right? I mean, still very impressive. This is how you start, right? Did you start with something like this?
No, the program, when did it start?
This year.
Oh,
Yeah,
this
started
year.
Vex Go
Okay,
this
wow.
year.
Okay, very cool.
That's definitely exciting
Yeah.
to hear. Is this little car right here remote powered? How does this work?
Remote powered.
Remote power.
Yeah.
And you guys design and or I guess the 2nd and 3rd graders would design and then program this.
That's correct.
Correct.
Wow.
Yep. And drive it. They program it on an iPad, and then they actually use the iPad to drive it as well.
Wow. I mean, we always use the term iPad kids, you know, making fun of like kids that like do too much screen time.
Right.
But in this time, it's kind of
Great
it's a good thing, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Because they're learning valuable skills. Jason, I want to ask you because you actually moved to the Grandville School District.
Yeah.
You and your wife did to kind of get into the robotics program. Talk to me about that. Why did you do it? Why did you think this was the program to be a part of, to kind of be a part of all of this?
So for me, it goes back to when I first started teaching. I was a teacher in Grandville,
Okay.
but we didn't live in district. We lived in a different district close to Grandville. And then when we had our first son, we quickly realized that he had certain inclinations for building and designing. And so we knew we wanted to have some way for him to use that as an outlet.
Yeah.
And I happen to know, because I was a Grandville employee, that Grandville had a great robotics program. But we were in an area where we had a lot of school of choice options. And the more we kept looking at the Grandville robotics program, the more we decided this was where we wanted our son to start school. And then I was commuting with him every day from where we lived, and we just realized that the program was just going to get better and better and grow, and so we decided to just move into district so that we could be closer to the program, and then my younger son was able to go through too. And I started coaching my oldest when he was in 4th grade. He's now a 10th grader.
Oh, wow.
And
so he's kind of got to go through multiple levels
He's
of
been
this.
through all the stages and done almost all of the different robotics programs, yeah. So, but it's been great for both my boys.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. So again, we've got the 2nd, 3rd grade level here. Let's move on down the table. Is this kind of the same thing, or is this a different level of robotics? And I'll ask you.
So this is a Lego League, and this is for anybody, I think, 3rd grade?
No, 4th through 6th grade.
4th through 6th grade.
Okay.
It's different from Vex because you're building with Legos, and this year the challenge is like this robot has to open this whale's mouth and put the krill into the whale, and then hit the lever over here to knock the baby kraken off.
Okay, wow. So kind of a couple different levels, and there's like
Yeah.
a game element to this. Do you know like how this comes? Do you guys have to design this, or is there like a blueprint or a set blueprint that you guys follow?
So there's like a set blueprint that teaches you how to build it, and then you code the robot to do the different things.
Okay, wow. A lot of skill involved with this. How do you go about coding all of that? Is that something that you also learn from the blueprint, or is that something that you just want to come up with?
Kind of come up with.
Okay, wow. So how do you come up with that? I mean, that's pretty cool. Or is it just like you guys get together and you say, we want to make the robot do this?
Kind of get together and decide what we want to make the robot do and how we want to approach the objective of the game. And it's not like a one-person job to code. It's more of everybody takes a part in coding.
Okay, and what do you learn by doing that? Is it a lot of teamwork involved?
A ton of teamwork and learning how to get along with your team.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, these kids are impressive.
Oh, this is incredible, having all these different teams that you guys can be a part of. We have these different grade levels here too, these different skill levels. What makes this more difficult than this? What are the different steps that go into it that makes it a little bit trickier?
I think
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
I think the coding the Vex Go robot is a little more tricky than this, because that one you have to actually drive with like an iPad, which I'm not really good with driving with an iPad because I've never done it before. And I think that I've done this once before, and I thought it was really fun. But I've never done Vex Go because that's new this year. But I think it'd be Vex Go that's more tricky.
Okay, interesting. And what do you think about it?
I think like Lego League, because you have to like build like a lot more sophisticated like Legos than like the Vex pieces.
What would make them more difficult, more complicated, really, as you would say?
Because there's like lots of different pegs and like wheels and gears that you have to do, and yeah, there's just a lot more like.
Seems like there's a
Stuff
lot
involved.
more pieces
Yeah.
involved, or different types of pieces. Jason, you have been working with these kids, or a different level?
No, the elementary level. Yep.
Okay.
So the 2nd through 6th grade level.
Okay,
Yep.
very cool. I mean, to see them rattle off all this knowledge, I mean, for you as well, it's got to mean the world that they're absorbing this, learning this. Can you kind of articulate that?
So what I love about it is the program, the kids design the robots, the kids decide what their robot's going to do, the kids program it, and then the kids maintain that robot. The adults are hands off.
Yeah.
We're there to make sure that they stay on task and they get done what they need to do. But these guys, they run their team, they decide what they're going to do during their practice, and that is just amazing to me, that they take ownership of this and they run it. It's all theirs.
What does it teach them about, skills that they'll learn, or use in the future as adults? Obviously, you're saying they're coming up with their agenda during their practice. They're coming up with what they want this robot to do and look like. What does that say in the future in the skills that they're building now?
So I love that our program allows our students to take what they're learning in school, which oftentimes is compartmentalized. You have a math class, you have a science class, and they can come to this program and put all of those things they've learned together into like one project. And it's hands-on, and so they get to, everything that comes with STEM, the science, technology, engineering, math, all those things that we know are so important for students, especially if they want to pursue some sort of STEM career once they get out of school. they're able to start learning those skills as early as second grade.
Yeah.
And really develop a passion for it. But then in addition to that, which is kind of the thing that people assume and see, there's also a bunch of soft skills that we love to promote for our students to be able to learn: the teamwork, gaining confidence. They have to learn to compromise. They have to learn to share their ideas, but also maybe not cling to their ideas so tightly that it causes a rift in their team. Another big part of Lego and Vex IQ is they get interviewed. So
Okay.
there's adult judges that walk around at these events, and they have to interview the kids, and the kids have to respond, and the adults have to walk away. It's just the judges and the kids, and they have to really advocate for themselves and speak into what they've done, and it just develops a lot of really good social soft skills in addition to those technical skills.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, combining STEM and then also bringing the communication aspect in and teaching kids those skills so early on is so incredibly important. Of all of these different programs, what would you say the different types of teams and programs highlight? And also, which one of these do you think would you say is your favorite?
I'd have to say my favorite is IQ because
Okay.
it's kind of where I started. It's when I
Yeah.
first started coaching. It's what both my boys were introduced into. I really do enjoy the Vex Go that we just started this year just because it's so colorful and it's a little more creativity involved up front. But Vex IQ is probably still has my heart as
Yeah.
someone involved in a robotics program.
I'm going to walk across the table
Yes.
and I'm going to interview some of these kids about that robot.
Yes,
While I do that, I want you to answer about the Tournament of Champions that just happened this past weekend, right?
Sure.
Correct.
Yes.
Talk about that. Why is that important? And then how are these kids involved with that?
Sure. Our Tournament of
Walk
Champions
across.
had 40 teams from across West Michigan. All the teams had won an award or were top skill score or top score in a regional event. And it was the next level of play for them. And so they came together as all champions and they competed together on Saturday. And they won some really cool awards.
That's exciting, yeah.
And we had teams from all over West Michigan, but also extending beyond that. In fact, we did have a team that came to us to our event from Ludington.
Wow.
Who had earned an invitation, and we invited them, and they came, and they had a great time.
So where do they go on from there? Because you said that this kind of extends the season a little bit. Where do they move on from there?
It's time to take the robot apart.
Okay.
Yeah, lots of tears.
Oh, darn it.
Yeah.
And is it this type of robot that we're working with here? Tell me about this. What's your name and tell me about this robot?
So my name is Kyla, and this would be the Vex IQ robot that the 6th graders do. So this is the robot that you would be using for this field down there.
Okay.
So you're gonna take one of these balls, and we used a catapult on this robot, and you're trying to shoot it into the hoops and the goals down there. So then that will get you the more points, and if you have the most points, that's gonna advance you further.
Okay. How difficult is it to program this thing to go in? And if we can take another shot at that, I mean, those are pretty small targets. You're aiming these balls into those squares. How difficult is that to be able to program it, or is it just kind of a breeze for you guys?
Well, the programming part is like, it's pretty simple. You have to code the drive velocity, so that's like how it would drive.
I was like, this is already way above my head, to be honest.
And then so we use these guides. If you want to flip the robot
Yeah, we're gonna flip it
around.
over.
Yep.
There you go.
So we use these guides to kind of let us line up with the field. And once we do that, we have found the right tension of the rubber bands to be able to get the ball into the goal pretty consistently. So that's like one of the biggest scoring strategies. And the programming helps a lot with that because these engines have to run this to be able to shoot it. So we have to get the right like numbers for it.
Okay, very cool. And then I see that you guys have this award right here. We were talking a lot about teamwork over the last couple of minutes. What is this award and why'd you guys win it?
This award is because we did really well.
Oh, that's
We
okay.
did really well doing the teamwork.
Yeah.
And the reason I couldn't come up with this is because we actually won 3 awards.
Okay.
For other
You're like, which
reasons.
award is this? So
It's hard
this is
from
not
that,
only
but
one, but you have 2 other. What are the other 2 ones?
We got one for placing good and the other one for doing like good design.
Very cool. Wow. So basically all the way around the board.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot that you guys have accomplished out of all of this. What was your favorite part of this entire season?
Who wants to go?
I'll say. I think that my favorite part of the season was probably working on our Auton code. Brady is really good at coding.
Okay.
So we kind of all like helped him, but he did a lot of the work. He did a really good job on that. But basically it's where we just press a button on our robot's brain right here, and our robot will use the code that we coded in the iPad and just drive on its own. And I thought that was really cool, like learning about all the different blocks of code and how the robot could just do it on its own.
All right. So you said Brady's the big coder
Oh, yeah.
over here. All right. Tell me about how you guys, what'd you say?
What?
What was
I
your
didn't
name?
say anything.
No.
My name's Brady.
Brady. Okay. Tell me about how you guys code this robot.
The way we code it is a lot of trial and error. We have to like change it by like an inch or two. And we're just trying to make it as precise as possible to shoot into the goals. And the guides help a lot.
Okay.
So we don't have to be perfectly centered because this will align us. And
Okay.
it helps out a lot.
And I understand that you guys can put this on the ground and do it. Is that kind of what we're
Yeah.
thinking? All right. We'll let you guys to it. Go ahead.
And another factor while they're doing that, if I
Yep.
may, one other thing we have here is their engineering notebook. That's another big component about the VEX IQ program.
Okay.
Is the students are asked, I'd like to say required, but it's actually not required, but we prefer that they all invest time in keeping track of their engineering process. So in that notebook, for every meeting that they have, every practice they have, they take notes on what they were talking about, what they've discussed, their design ideas, problems they've come up with, the solutions they found for those problems. And it's just a good catalog of their entire season.
And it's something that they could probably refer back to, you know, in years to come, that if they need to say, okay, what did we do with that project? We want to kind of apply that somewhere else. You know, it's
Absolutely.
probably a good reference tool as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, kind of having that conversation of, I know we talked about this once, and bringing back that information. There are so many great skills to be learned out of all this. I'm excited to see how this all plays out, though.
Yeah. So as we're doing this, I'm going to stick the microphone in your face. What are we doing right now?
So we're going to drive our autonomous code so it drives on its own.
Okay. Let's see it.
All right.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Then we can just load it back in.
And it knows when the ball goes in there, right?
No.
Oh, it doesn't. Okay.
Oh.
It actually doesn't, but I made sure that ahead of time so we could actually properly load it in.
Okay, perfect. And what is that time that you guys kind of go back and forth with?
I decided with like 4 seconds.
4 seconds?
Which will give us enough time for the arm to fully come down and enough time for us to have the ball.
And how difficult of a code is that?
I missed right there, but
Still pretty
it's
impressive.
good difficulty.
It is. Is it really? Okay.
Yeah, it's very tedious and it takes a lot of time.
I mean, it sounds like it would. And do you guys come up with that on your own? You said you kind of all
Yeah.
kind of decide that. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, is
Yeah.
it reading the grid that's on the ground, or how does it know where to go?
It has an internal like gyro that needs to be calibrated before it runs, but it just like knows its distance from like a certain place. So if we say go forward
Oh.
1 foot, it can track like 1 inch at a time, so it goes forward exactly 1 foot.
Okay.
You can also like where it is. It was just like listens to the code that's connected to the gyro.
Okay, doesn't know where it is, but it
Yeah.
listens to the code. That's really interesting to hear about. Trying to put all of this into practice. Now, you have it shooting into these different baskets. Do they have different scores to them? Oh, I see a head nod.
Yeah. How does that work?
So basically, the switches. Do you want me to take
Yeah,
this?
you can take
Okay.
it.
So the switches are really, really helpful. So if you have one switch cleared, so that's the blue things. The blue things are the switches.
Okay.
If you have only one cleared and the rest of them are still up, each goal that you score is worth 1 point in a normal match. Now, if you have all 4 of the switches cleared, so all 4 of the blue things are down, every ball you score is worth 13 points. So it makes your score just like skyrocket up. And another helpful thing is it's not at the moment. They're not keeping track of that. So if you have one switch cleared and then you have like a goal, that counts as 1. But if at the very end you have 4 switches, it's going to count as 13. So it's not at that very time, it's at the very end. points, depending on how many switches you have cleared.
Okay, very cool. And does that also come with an award, like if you clear all of those switches, or does that count as a point, or?
So if you clear all of the switches, it's just gonna make your points go up,
Okay.
but you only get an award if you have the highest amount of points overall.
Okay.
And it's actually your average points.
Okay, so you guys seem to have done pretty well in this competition.
Yeah.
How did you guys do this past weekend?
So we qualified for states. We did pretty good in that. I think we were fifth. Yeah.
Wow.
Out of
37 teams.
37. I mean, like, that's pretty big. So fifth out of 37 teams. I mean, you guys have got to be pretty proud. I mean, they're able to just kind of take this and run with it. When I was in 6th grade, I was not doing this.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. So, I mean, can you just talk about that? How proud are you guys?
It's super rewarding for us to not only see that success, but just the process as a whole. I know Rosemary and I are always talking about how at our robotics facility that we're so grateful to have for elementary kids. They're in rooms practicing, and we kind of stay in an open area, and we just hear shouts. We hear shouts of joy coming from these classrooms, and so we get up and we run down to the classroom that we heard the shouts coming from to see what happened, and it's either they finally got the ball through, or they finally got that piece of code to work, and so really it's those little moments that we see throughout the season that we really appreciate and know that the kids are getting something out of it. The accomplishments at tournaments are nice and great, and it allows us to come and speak to some of these events, but it's really those moments throughout the season that I get a kick out of anyway.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So when Doug was here last week, he was telling us that, you know, there are a couple rules when it comes to the advisors and the coaches of this. What was it? It was like, you know, you guys are basically hands off and no one leaves crying. Is that right? Or something like that?
Yep.
Including the coach. We don't want coaches
Including the
crying.
coach. Right. You guys matter in this too. Yeah. This is just super cool, you guys. So again, the Grandville Public Schools, the 6th graders here, done really well with their robotics competition. We're also looking ahead to next week. We're going to have some more of you guys back here to check out some of that as well.
Yep.
And of course, this full segment will be available on 13onyourside.com in a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, it's 9:57. We'll be back in about a minute and a half.